Welcome back to the vlog. Welcome back to social studies. I hope you had a nice break over Labor Day, but it's time to get back into our learning mode. So, for social studies, we've been kind of talking about Indiana and the physical pieces of Indiana, how its lithosphere or the land was formed, how its hydrosphere, or how the water moves around, or the biosphere with its animals and plants. Although those are awesome and a super important part of Indiana, we're going to move on to more of the history of Indiana. And it's not just the history that you know, but even before Europeans came. So Europeans came to America probably like 400 years ago, but there had been people living here many thousands of years before that. I like to, and we call them the first people or Native Americans. We think that they first came to the North America continent from Asia over 20,000 years ago. There was a little strip of land or some ice sometimes that connected Alaska and Russia. So they came across from Russia and then down into like California first and then spread east. They think that the first people arrived in Indiana about 13,000 years ago. And it wasn't just one group of people, but it was many different cultural groups. We're going to talk about those in a little bit. But first, how do we know about these people? How do we know about how they lived and how their society worked or how they did anything? Well, there's this really cool job called an archaeologist. And their job is to look for physical signs of how people lived because there's no one left to tell us how they lived. So they have to look for physical signs of how they lived or a special word called an artifact. So we're going to talk about those in a little bit, but they dig up these artifacts and they look for clues that people left from a long time ago. Some of the early clues that were left here that are still around today and you can go visit in many places, and they're big to see, are mounds. So mounds were used for many variety of reasons. Some were used as like burial grounds or like their type of cemetery. Some were used for religious purposes. And sometimes they just moved stuff around so they could have a better life. Those are some of the big, huge ones, but there's also small little artifacts. Many of you guys might know what an arrowhead is or a tool. So a lot of archaeologists will dig back where they think some people might have lived thousands of years ago and look for these clues and try to use these clues to get an idea of how these cultures worked. So I want you to watch this cool video I found from the Indiana DNR about artifacts. And after you come back from that video, we're going to talk about some of the earliest groups that they can have a pretty good idea of what happened in their culture and how they lived. So enjoy the video. It's about like 3 or 4 minutes long, and I will see you on the other side.